It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories we're watching this Monday, May 26. The Interior Department is seeking clearance from the ICC so that former President Duterte can take his oath of office. Duterte, who is currently in detention at The Hague for crimes against humanity, won by a landslide as Davao City Mayor. Meanwhile, the DILG has also deployed over 1,600 police officers and force multipliers for heightened visibility across NCR. Interior Secretary John Vic Rimulya says this is part of the permanent strategy to deter crime and make streets safer. Rimulya also confirms that President Marcos has a new PNP chief in mind to replace retiring General Romel Manabil.
President Bongbong Marcos urged ASEAN member countries to expedite the completion of a legally binding code of conduct in the South China Sea during the 46th ASEAN Summit. He also backed Malaysia's call for a special ASEAN economic ministers meeting to unify the region's response to U.S. tariffs. Meantime, Vice President Sara Duterte departed for Qatar and the Netherlands to meet Filipino communities and visit her detained father, former President Duterte. She's also expected to join a Filipino gathering outside the ICC at The Hague and will return to the Philippines on June 4. On the roads today, the No Contact Apprehension Policy, or NCAP, of the MMDA has resumed today. That's May 26. It will be enforced along major roads including EDSA, Rojas Boulevard, Taft Avenue, as well as key R roads like Ortigas, Commonwealth, and Rizal Avenue. Meanwhile, the EDSA Rehabilitation Project kicks off June 13, starting with preparatory works from Pasay to Guadalupe. Transport officials now call it the EDSA Rebuild. To help manage traffic, authorities will waive Skyway Stage 3 tolls, enforce a new odd-even scheme, and deploy more buses and trains throughout the project duration.
And a civilian-led concert for peace set sail in the West Philippine Sea, marking the third mission of the group Atin Ito. Nearly 200 volunteers, including local and international artists, joined the voyage aboard the training ship Capitan Felix Soca from Manila to El Nido in Palawan. The concert aims to spread a message of solidarity through music, with performances from P-pop group Horizon, Noel Cabangon, of course being a Filipino, and Evidencel. And before we forget, from El Nido, they will be going to
Spratlys.
the
Spratly Islands.
Going to Pagas Island.
Malapit sa sandbars that are in the headlines right now.
The contested sandbars.
The very contested, the very
I think they're
hotly
expected to be there
contested.
by tomorrow in the Spratly Island.
Kilala mo ba yung acts na yun, Ed?
Which one?
Yung mga acts, yung mga artists.
Si Noel Cabangon. Ka naman o...
Evidencel, kilala mo?
I heard of him lang. Hindi mo naman kanina kung ibe.
Joining us today. Okay.
Yan yung instigador. Sige. Hahabol pala.
Okay. Joining us today from the Philippine Star, we've got Editor-in-Chief, Ami Pamintuan. Hi, Ami.
Yan, tanongin mo yan.
Hi, Reg. Hi, Ed. Happy Monday.
Tanungin ko si Ami.
Hindi ba sasama si Ronald hindi ba sasama doon sa atin ito?
Alam mo si Ronald, yan, instigador yan. Siya yung mag-rally the troops at siya yung magsasendo, pero hindi sumasama.
Hindi siya sasama. Hindi siya sasama.
Yung nakaraan, yung ginawa niya Hinakot niya kami, sinakay niya kami sa barko, tapos naiwan.
Tapos, goodbye.
Akala ko this time sasama siya because it's going to Spratlys to
Sabi niya?
Pag-asa. Ang alam ko.
Hindi ko alam.
Okay.
We'll ask him because he's gonna try to dial in a bit later. Tanungin natin kung nasan siya.
Malaman nga kung ano. It's the same boat that we used the last time.
Kapitan Oka.
And yung mga pasintabi lang po. Pero yung mga yung common
Toilet?
nahirapan yung girls mag-CR.
Luma na siya, yung boat.
Well, wala namang bagong barko ngayon sa amin.
Sa bagay, I
These are
boarded
old,
one of them din Maliit lang siya, no?
No, this is big.
This one is big.
Malaki siya.
training
Yeah, it's
ship.
big.
It's huge. And also the
pretty big.
also the roaches inside are huge. So
Concert, pang-concert. Kailangan na yan. Magko-concert dyan eh.
Oo, dun I'm sure dun sa rear end ng ship dun gagawin ng concert kasi medyo malapad yung deck sa likod eh. Just the right place and space for a concert kasi when we had to turn back doon kami humiga nung gabi tas nagpaulan dahil
Under the stars.
sa frustration.
Ganda.
may tama kami.
But sayang, hindi sila magdi-disembark. Wouldn't be fun if they could,
disembark,
hold
no?
the concert
Go to
sa Pag-asa Island mismo.
But I don't know kasi if they have the facilities in Pag-asa
for the electric plugs.
Hindi
ganun.
sila ma-accommodate. Oo,
baka
barangay
mahirapan
lang
sila
yan
eh.
eh.
Yung barko kasi malakas ang kuryente niyan eh. Kasi laki ng makina eh.
Yes.
It's like a huge
Yeah.
generator eh.
Good point.
So yun. Also, I don't know if they have the docking facilities to bring down everybody from
Kasi
the ship.
malaki yung barko.
Oo, medyo malalim yung barko, yung draft niya. And pangalawa, you're talking about a huge group eh. You have all the artists, the equipment, and of course the reporters.
How big is
and
this coalition this time around? Hundreds din?
I'm not sure.
Dati kasi convoy siya eh. The one that you joined, it was a convoy.
It wasn't really a convoy. Well, it was convoy in the sense it was more than one boat. But we were just two civilian boats. One is the one we rode, yung malaki. The other one is the very very tiny ship MV Chawi. Ang dala lang niya, hindi tao, dala lang niya mga gamit.
Okay.
Yun.
Supplies, food supplies, ganon.
So, it was a convoy in the sense na kasama namin yung Philippine Navy.
Yan, we're looking at the pictures of the press conference ng atin ito, coalition, before they set sail.
Ngayon, dalawang Coast Guard ang kasama nila ngayon.
Okay.
May escort na daw na dalawang Coast Guard.
I guess that's in light of the fact that may incident na naman doon, no? Recently,
Yes.
Yung
just
bombahan last week.
Yeah. The CCG, Chinese Coast Guard vessel, sideswiped and also water cannoned the BRP Dato Sanday, right?
I wonder
Yes.
lang what they'll do this time. Kasi, di ba, that was a week
Hindi
before.
makikinig ng concert. K-pop yan eh.
Si kilala ni Ami, ikaw.
Sige nga, Ami, anong grupo yan?
Hindi ko kabisa. Marami akong kilalang K-pop pero sila hindi. Inaamin ko, hindi ko kilala. But it's K-pop.
They're pretty famous. They're pretty big.
Talaga?
But
Horizon?
Not that I
significant
follow
ha,
them.
na may
Sige nga.
ano.
Hindi,
Diba?
not that I follow them, but I know that, may
Anong kanta?
may following talaga sila.
Anong kanta?
I don't follow them per se, pero kilala ko lang.
Si
I
Noel
know of
Cabangon,
them.
kailan niya, no?
Si Noel Cabangon, kilala natin.
Yun.
Pero it's significant na may kasamang mga Korean
They,
pop stars.
they have Koreans, they have Malaysians, they have Japanese
Japanese, yes.
singers.
Hindi, yung Japanese naintindihan natin, pero yung Korean medyo hindi sila masyadong nakikiano dito sa dispute na to eh. Kaya ngayon, that's interesting na may
Yeah.
kasamang K-pop. Mga ambassadors of goodwill ng South Korea yung mga nila eh. Entertainers nila eh.
Oo nga, ang galing ng no? Na that's become their biggest export, yung entertainment
Yes.
industry. It's become a
Yes.
cultural soft power.
Sila ba yan? Sila ba yan?
Yes.
Eh,
Well,
ito yung
yes.
mga-
No.
ito yung mga P-pop? O K-pop?
Hindi ko makita. My eyes are...
Hindi yata.
Hindi yata. That's from atin ito.
Si Rafael
yata.
David niya sa kanan eh.
Oo. Oh yeah, that's Rafaela David sa right
Pilipino yan
most.
eh.
That's Rafaela
Hindi,
David.
ito naka-short hair, di ba mukhang Koreano?
Ay, tanongin niyo yung political heckler. Kilala niya yung mga yan.
Ayun na ba si Ronald? Ronald, asa ka ba?
Diyan na si political heckler.
Ayan,
oo.
nasa El Nido. Oh. Ang ganda ng
Hindi
background mo.
nakasakay sa barko eh. Mandaraya eh. Wala sa barko eh. Ando lang sa sa biranda lang ng hotel.
Palawan ba yan or Italy?
El Nido. Alam ko yung background mong yan. Alam ko yung background mong yan. El Nido
Sa
yan.
biranda. Ayun ano yan eh. Palawan na yun. Ang daming barko sa likod oh.
Oo nga pala.
Ay ano pala. Bangka.
Ako kasama dyan. Nagbabakasyon lang ako. Nagbabakasyon lang ako. Hindi ako anti-China. Oo. Sila Edling daw
Bangka
na,
ang
sila
dami.
Secretary
Ayun
mo,
oh.
Teka, Tito Ronald. Tito
K-pop
Ronald.
yung mga K-pop.
Kilala mo ba yung Kilala mo ba yung mga
K-pop
artist?
siya. Kilala niya. K-pop.
Ano ba yung K-pop na yan? Yung isa all boys, yung isa all girls.
Aba, alam mo niya.
Yung all boys, yung
Alam din namin
Horizon.
yun. Nakita namin yung picture.
Horizon. Nandiyan yan. Sama-sama sila. Ayan, Rouge yan. Rouge.
Wow.
Oh, yan, kilala niya, oh.
Ronald. Gen Z
Rouge yun,
ka nga,
Rouge.
Gen Z. You are Gen Z. I'm sorry, I doubted you.
Tito Ronald, give us an idea
Yes
first
naman.
the schedule. What's the schedule for the group?
Well, they have a
O,
concert
ayan na
tonight.
yung K-pop. O, ayan ang K-pop.
Ah,
Ayan ang K-pop.
yung K-pop.
Okay.
O, yan. O, yan. O.
Si Ami pa nagpapanig eh.
Bagay kay Ami, bagay yung ulo ni Ami. Oh.
Anong schedule? What's our schedule ba? What's our schedule?
Well, ngayong 5 o'clock, they will have a concert.
There.
Tapos, mahaba yan, mga 3 hours. Tapos, they will have a fireworks display. Tapos, early tomorrow morning, punta na sila ng Pag-asa Island. Sa Pag-asa Island, sasalubungin sila ng mga bangka, about 30 boats. Tapos, magkakaroon ng concert. Yun yung main concert sa Pag-asa. And then, babalik na sila sa Manila. So, darating sila sa Manila on the 30th.
Pero arrival in Pag-asa what day and what time? More or less.
28 hours eh. 28 hours yung biyahe.
It's a day and 4 hours.
Hindi Pag-asa.
If they depart tonight, tama ba? If they depart tonight, they'll be there tomorrow night?
Early morning ang departure nila. Stand up sila ng 100 bangka. Parang yung last time,
Sa convoy nga. Oh.
Last may stand up ko. Isa-send up sila ng 100 bangka with lights, no, with fanfare. Hanggang sovereign waters lang.
Okay.
Parang hindi kaya ng mga
Territorial.
sa high season.
Yeah.
Lulubog sila. Oo. So 12 nautical miles, ihahatid sila ng mga fishermen. Paglampas sa sovereign waters, sa EEZ, magsasarili na yung mother boat. Pagdating nila sa sovereign water ng Pag-asa, sasalubungin naman sila ng 30 to 40 bangka galing sa Pag-asa Island, mga fishermen. Tapos magpo-concert sila for, again, 3 hours, tapos fireworks ulit. Tapos palipas sila ng kaunti, balik na sila sa Manila. Paghapon kasi maalon eh. Paghapon maalon. So umaga hanggang tanghali, medyo kalmado. Kalmado yung dagat. Parang si Reg, kalmado. Parang ganon.
may ano talaga eh. May sundot pa rin talaga eh. From all the way from Palawan.
Kalmado naman ako today until we got the news.
Don't get her started yet. Mamaya.
Ano yun?
Yung ad-even.
Yung ad-even.
May bagong, yung EDSA, may plano na for the EDSA rehab. Pero
Yeah.
anyways,
And for 24 hours,
24 hours.
Pero Ronald, bakit nag-imbita na? Isipang mag-imbita ng Koreans. Kasi yun na nga sabi ko, dati hindi nakikigulo yung mga yan dyan eh.
Hilig kasi ng Generation Z namin, yung mga K-pop. Hilig namin yan eh. Kaya hindi kayo makaka-relate dyan. Hindi kayo makaka-relate.
Oo nga.
Kayo kasi kung kayo Peter, Paul, and Mary kayo Joanne Baez.
Ay, kinig ako ng Blackpink ha.
John Denver.
Blackpink tsaka Jungkook ha.
Yan. Ito naman, isang Japanese naman, si Fumi. Sikat din yun. Si Fumi. No? Wala yun sa ating Pinoy Big Brother. Pero hapon.
May alam talaga si
Hapon.
Ronald.
Siyempre, siya nag-organize eh.
May Malaysian, may Indonesian. Nabasa ko lang. Nabasa ko sa programa.
Nabasa ko lang. Okay.
Si Gretchen, text ng text, nagkukan siya, FOMO. Fear of missing out. So FOMO. Si Gretchen.
Ayan na si Gretchen.
Oo.
Ay, si Gretchen ba yan?
Nag-fear of out siya. FOMO. FOMO yan.
Tanungin nyo, lokohin nyo. FOMO daw siya.
FOMO. Ano yung kanya?
Tanungin mo.
Pero Ronald, if the ship departs tomorrow early morning, so you expect the ship to get to Pag-asa by Wednesday early morning? Or at least Wednesday noon?
Baka noon.
Mga Wednesday noon.
28 to 29 hours.
Yeah, so it's Wednesday mga midday na. Yeah, my next question.
tagal,
Yeah, haba talaga siya. But the other question is do you expect hindi fireworks eh. Do you expect
Any incidents?
Water cannon.
water cannon works?
Water cannon.
Well, ang monitoring nila, may 20 Chinese vessels na ron bago umabot ng Pag-asa.
May 20 what?
Pero 20 Chinese vessels.
Okay. In the
So,
area.
napaka-KJ naman nila, haharangin nila isang peace concert, di ba? Napaka-KJ naman, no? No?
Ano nga, before boat nga lang
Yeah.
Binombe
And that
Oo
was
nga.
just 2 boats. Okay.
Bok, teka.
Research vessel lang yon.
Pero,
Pero
teka.
alam kasi nila, wala si Edlingao, wala si Gretchen Ho. So, hindi na haharangin.
Ganon.
Nung hinarang kasi dati, nandun si Edlingao, nandun si Gretchen Ho. No? Meron pa silang kwan nun freedom to broadcast.
Hindi ba
Meron pa
Chinese
silang
sounding yung names
freedom
na yun?
vote, freedom to broadcast.
Teka,
Marami pang kaeklayan sa kwan nun
No. Tito Ronald, we have to bring in Marcel Harili, our news fan correspondent all the way from Malaysia.
Mase.
Bok, teka,
Yes,
si
yes.
Mase. Mase, kumusta dyan?
ASEAN yan, ASEAN.
Hello, good afternoon.
Go.
Narinig ko yung pinag-uusapan nyo ito ko sa South China
Yeah.
Sea. And din kasi yung topic dito sa 46 ASEAN Summit. And kanina, in-emphasize ni President Bongbong Marcos yung kanyang call with the ASEAN members to hasten the conclusion of the Code of Conduct. Kasi if you recall, di ba, Bok, Rich, Ms. Amy at saka Tito Ronald, ang sinasabi ng Department of Foreign Affairs, dito raw nakaraan na Foreign Ministry discussions nila noong, I think that was 2023. Ang target is by Ms. Amy, by 2023 ay nagkaroon sila ng pag-uusap na dapat by 2026, meron na sanang conclusion, na-conclude na yung COC. Ngayon ang tanong dyan, magkakatotoo kaya yan? So kasama yan doon sa mga calls si PBBM dito sa ASEAN Summit saying na sana i-hasten yung conclusion for the COC. That's bukod dyan, he also mentioned about the US tariff. Binigay niya yung kanyang pagsuporta dun sa stance ng ASEAN wherein sinasabi nila na gusto nila ay yung walang retaliation doon sa i-impose na US tariff. Kasabay niyan yung announcement ni Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim earlier na siya na mismo yung sumulat kay US President Donald Trump requesting for a US-ASEAN meeting para nga mapag-usapan ito.
Mase, di ba ang chairman ngayon, Malaysia Ang chairman
Yes.
sila, Ibrahim. No? Tinutulak ba niya yung Code of Conduct? I met him more than a month ago Si Anwar Ibrahim at saka 3 niyang ministers. Hindi sila masyadong keen dun sa Code of Conduct. Parang medyo hesitant sila na ma-antagonize ang China. At least at this point. Ano ba ngayon ay tinutulak nila na yung Code of Conduct?
Alam mo, Tito Ronald, base din sa mga speech ni Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim earlier, hindi ganun ang emphasis niya doon sa Code of Conduct. Pero kanina lamang nag-press briefing itong si Undersecretary Claire Castro. And of course, according to Malacanang, pare-pareho daw yung stance ng ASEAN members saying na pinupush natin yung COC because finally gusto na raw nilang tapusin itong usapan tungkol dito sa COC for maritime protection and safety.
Pero nagsalita ba si Anwar Ibrahim about that as
Wala.
chairman?
So far, at least yung mga nakikita ng mga kapatid natin sa media, kasi syempre marami naman silang mga confidential discussions na hindi namin naririnig. But so far, doon sa mga inilabas sa media, walang ganun ka-strong message about COC.
Maricel, yung sa reciprocal tariffs, apart from the ASEAN seeking a meeting with US, meron bang specific silang binanggit na balak nilang hingin kung sakasakali sa Washington kung matuloy ang usapan na yan?
Wala pa dun sa punto na hinimay-himay nila yung particular measures that they are planning to do. Ang malinaw lang doon sa napag-usapan nila na for now, hindi nila kinoconsider yung retaliatory measures. They choose to have a dialogue with the US government. Yun yung malinaw. But other than that, wala pa silang nahihimay na step-by-step procedure on what they are going to do.
Okay. We'll let you go, Masa, because we understand hinahabol mo pa yung sinusundan mo yung agenda ng President. So, yeah.
Reg, may isang tanong lang.
Go ahead.
No? Isang tanong. Kamusta si Secretary Manalo? Si Secretary Manalo,
Naku,
how
nandito
is he
siya.
conducting himself? siyempre napalitan siya, di ba?
Yes,
Ah,
yes.
Literally kick upstairs. So ano yung conduct niya dyan? Sa iyong vantage point.
Alam mo, Tito Ronald, I don't want to think na iniiwasan niya yung media. Pero kasi kahapon, malinaw na siya yung representative ng Philippines doon sa foreign ministry meeting. So we requested that maybe we can have will have a chance na makausap siya and get his point of view about the recent cabinet revamp. Pero hindi kami naging successful. Hindi siya nagpakita sa atin. Although, nandito siya, until kanina kasama niya si President Bongbong Marcos with the other ASEAN leaders. Pero so far, hindi pa siya nagbibigay ng kanyang statement with the members of the media. And kanina, sinecheck nga rin natin yung list ng mga mag-a-attend doon sa iba't ibang mga ASEAN forum. Nandun na rin yung pangalan ni incoming Secretary Tess Lazo. Although nandun naman siya sa listahan ng mga high officials. So hindi pa siya yung representative ng Foreign Ministry Summit.
Very interesting. Okay, we'll let you continue chasing down Secretary Manalo. Thank you so much for your report. News 5 correspondent Maricel Halili reporting live from Kuala Lumpur. Alam mo
Thank
yun
you,
yung,
Maricel.
alam mo yun yung one of the criticisms against ASEAN, which is that it sometimes ends up into a talk shop because
Has to be unanimous all the
nothing
time.
huge comes out of it kasi they're consensus-based nga.
It's all conflict avoidance.
Oo, correct. So for instance, itong code of conduct na to, 20 years na, they've been talking about it. And it's especially meaningful for us next year kasi the Philippines is hosting next year and gusto ng Marcos administration to be the one to say, look, we signed it during my term. But, I don't know how, mukhang malayo-layo pa tayo, right?
At yan ang segue mo. Yung ASEAN Summit, yan ang dahilan kaya ka magkaka-adiben.
Hindi naman yun.
Oo, partly yun. Kasi kaya nila...
Yan yung talaga, it's for that.
Oo.
The EDSA rehab is for the ASEAN Summit.
Grabe naman ang connect.
ASEAN
Pero
Summit.
tama si Ami. They thought...
Sinabi yun ng gobyerno.
Grabe talaga itong ASEAN
Mag-EDSA
na to.
rehab for the ASEAN Summit.
So,
Para maliit na kapakinig natin, yung framework kasi sa ASEAN, least common denominator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yan eh. No, least common denominator. Kung may isang tumutol,
Wala
walang
na.
desisyon.
Oo.
No?
Which is very, very difficult
Then yung
kasi 10 different countries, right? With all different interests. So, how do you get to a point na everyone agrees, right? It's almost impossible.
Although, ang depensa naman nila dyan, it has kept the peace in the region. Naging stable daw yung region dahil dyan sa policy na yan. Yun yung depensa nila, ha?
Yeah, but
Na walang
But
conflict.
Is there peace in the region because of the policy or
Walang conflict within the region.
it's not not
Yeah.
necessarily connected?
Conflict avoidance. So,
but you know, as
yung ganun.
as our guest on Friday was pointing out, times are changing, right? Yung status quo before
Yeah.
is not the same as what it is now. You
Yeah.
can see that by Chinese actions, right? By the incidents of water cannoning, the harassment out at sea, dumadami. So the old ways, the old approach, the old response cannot be the same as in the past, is his point. Sabi ni Ray
Kailangan
Powell.
mag-step up ang ASEAN.
But tama si
Yeah.
Ami. Yun yung segue sa EDSA rehab because
Oo. Yan ang inaalala ngayon ng lahat.
so itong EDSA rehab na to was started because we wanted to clean up Metro Manila for ASEAN nga to prepare for the hosting next
Yes.
year. And then us in the media, we've been asking DPWH, DOTR, and MMDA for the plan, the traffic alleviation plan
Ayan,
since the
tuloy.
start of the year, since
Kaya,
March.
binigay sa inyo.
Wala. Since February, March. I remember, nag-interview kami ng DPWH in March. Sabi namin, asan na yung traffic alleviation plan? Kasi if you wanted to start it in April, right? They kept delaying. Sabi, we're still talking. Pero eto na tayo, June na, and this rehab is gonna last 2 years. Well past
Yes.
ASEAN. So, 2027 na daw matatapos. And now we have an odd-even scheme that was announced just
At
3 weeks.
ililibre naman kayo sa Skyway. Doon sa area lang na gagamitin sa yung alam EDSA.
Yung Skyway banda dun.
Hindi. Ililibre yung toll.
Yeah.
Pero doon lang sa portion na yung skip mo yung EDSA.
Okay.
Yan. Yan.
That's a relief.
Secretary Vince Dizon, puro libre.
Vince Dizon. Puro yan.
But I mean, so balik na naman tayo sa Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The plates ending 13579 are banned from EDSA for the whole day. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Actually, for the whole week except Sunday.
02468.
Yeah.
02468 naman ang bawal sa EDSA. And I mean, it doesn't give any people much time to prepare for it, right?
Hindi ko alam kung kung may window. May window ba? Yan ang hindi
Walang window.
malinaw.
It's for
No
the
window.
entire 24 hours for
Yeah.
the whole day.
So if you're a family, isa lang yung kotse nyo, ano yung solution? Just take public transport? Para kung
Hindi pa naman naging
Maglalakad
public
Maglalakad
transport.
ka.
Talisihan, no? Sa Lunes, sa
No. You go to the meron daw mga alternative routes, di ba?
Well, nagdagdag daw.
Sa Edlingal, sa Tuesday, sakay ka sa akin, sa Wednesday,
Taga
sakay
Quezon
kami sa...
City ka eh.
Palitan tayo ng sakayan. Okay na.
Nagdagdag daw sila ng MRT trains and ng buses dun sa EDSA bus route. So that's part of the solution. Yun lang. But to Reg's point na how much time do we have to prepare? Well, how else can you prepare except to buy new cars, assuming that you can afford
Oo
one?
nga.
no, and also, well, I mean,
You can't afford one anyway.
the government should have prepared. Okay, fine. They're talking about rolling out more MRT trains and rolling out more PUVs. Pero na-study na ba yon lahat is my question, right? So, how did we come up with
Hindi
this?
tayo intermodal Yan ang
Oo.
problema. Hindi
Oo,
tayo
exactly.
intermodal lang transport
Oh, okay, so itong 13579 on MWF, did anyone study that or did somebody just come up and say, okay, alternate na lang, just to be fair about it? Do you know what I mean? And also, remember, yung innermost lane, dun mag-start yung rehab. Kasi yun yung bus lane. So yung
Yeah.
bus lane,
Uurong.
i-move sa tabi.
Bus lane.
Iuurong sa tabi. So effectively, you're losing 2 lanes right away. Right? So how is that gonna work? Is my question. In my head, parang it's a little bit, mukhang medyo magulo. In my head.
Saka to si Ronald, magaling sa mga agitation,
Ito si Ronald,
Depende yan
gusto ko
sa
makita
impact
kung anong reaksyon.
Hindi, yung impact ng motorista, di ba? Kapag yung maraming nagalit na motorista, anong impact ng administration, Ronald?
20% na nga yung approval rating ng Presidente.
Yan na nga hindi ba?
5%, diba?
I think they will have to monitor that.
Ito po si Ronald, dami reklamo sa traffic.
Actually, pwede magkaroon ng revolusyon dahil sa traffic.
Yes.
Alam mo, hindi. Hindi. Kasi matatraffic sila papunta sa revolusyon.
Lalakad na lang nga doon sa revolution. Sa
Hindi sila
revolution
aabot.
site.
Ano ba yan?
Sino makakabigay ng solusyon sa traffic? Yun ang susunod na presidente.
Yeah.
Sabi nga ni Tatay Toots, 5 minutes ba yung sabi niya?
He will fix the
5
traffic.
minutes, hindi ba?
In
Tinesting
6
natin
months.
yon. Ang sagot pala yung yung busway.
Oo.
Para maging 5 minutes.
Sabi niya, he'll fix traffic din daw in 6 months.
And
Pero,
drugs and crime.
amongst other things. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just not seeing it. Tingnan natin sa implementation. It might actually work. Of course,
Hindi
it's-
lang ikaw, Red. Siya ang pinag-uusapan ngayon ng lahat ng motorista.
kaya nga eh.
Well, it's going to work in the sense that it will reduce traffic. But it's not going to work for the people who can.
Reg, papasundo kita sa chopper ko. Bigyan mo
Ayan. Bibili na ng helicopter sa Ronald.
Dumagdag ka pa sa air traffic.
Tsaka hindi naman dadagdag ng
Ronald, ang
EDSA.
problema mo, marami rin bibili ng
Dumadaan pa
helicopter
EDSA.
ngayon, yung mga negosyanteng may kwarta. Lahat yan bibili ng helicopter.
Parang si
Magkakabangga kayo dun sa taas.
Hindi, Ami.
Well,
Bibili lang sila ng mga
kwarta.
bagong kotse. Kasi they can afford to buy the new
Helicopter.
cars.
And the other thing is, bibili sila ng hybrid kasi hybrids
Oo,
are exempted
exempted.
from the
100%.
odd-even scheme. Right? So, may pagka, I don't know.
Hindi ko nababanggitin yung yung sikat na
elitist.
brand ngayon.
Oo.
May sikat na
Anti-poor ba?
brand
Teka,
ng hybrid ngayon, lalong lalakas yan.
Let's put it this way. Tito Ronald, do you think this is anti-poor?
Yung alin?
Itong Adiben.
Anti-middle class.
Anti-middle class siya.
Anti-middle class yan.
O di sabi mo kay Vince.
Anti-middle class.
Sabi mo kay Vince Season.
I mean, anong thought process ni Vince dito? I mean, of course, he's very new. He just assumed a couple of months ago, right? And actually, this predates him. Before pa he became Transport Secretary, pinag-uusapan na to. Pero what are his thoughts around how to implement this huge rehabilitation work?
Guess natin siya bukas.
Oh, sige.
Yes,
Ano?
parang the
Sige,
horses
kunarin.
out, diba? O, baka meron
Sige.
silang
Alam ko
study.
sasabihin niya.
Baka meron
Alam
silang
ko sabihin
study,
niya.
hindi natin alam. Hindi naman tayo learned sa traffic.
Ako alam ko sasabihin niya.
Ano na?
Sabihin niya, palipat niyo ASEAN Summit sa Myanmar or somewhere.
Hindi nga, di ba, we took over from Myanmar already?
Malaysia.
After Malaysia, dapat Myanmar, alphabetical siya, di ba?
Yeah.
Tapos we took over from Myanmar. Sabi
Ayaw
natin.
na ASEAN.
Sabihin niya, dalhin niyo doon sa Singapore. Dalhin niyo sa
Okay.
Singapore.
Let me be the devil's advocate here. I'll be the devil's advocate. Baka naman we're being
Hindi bagay
myopic.
sa'yo, Devil's Advocate.
Baka we're being myopic na is anti-middle class, but the middle class naman is not majority of the population. Baka it's for the good of
Ang
the...
gumagamit ng mga coaching yan, middle class yan.
Kaya nga.
Puro middle class.
Lahat yan. Yes.
Oo.
Kaya nga. Baka it's not for
Dahil yung lower income nandun sa bus, saka sa LRT.
Saka nakamotor.
Oh, yung mayaman na mayaman nandun sa taas, nasa helicopter.
Para si
Hindi naman
Ronald.
masyadong banatan. No? Anong gagawin namin sa pera namin kung hindi kami bibili ng chopper?
Ayan, si naka-Harley, si Ronald naka-Harley. Oh, meron silang doon.
Imagine mo, kaangkas ko sa Harley ko, si Reg. Big
Madaling maganon doon sa Harley, sa traffic. No.
No thanks. Lakad na lang ako. Thank
Yan.
you.
Okay.
But we'll see. Again, you're right. Maybe we may be being myopic. Baka naman
kasi
this is a runaway success.
This is our interest because we're in the
Because
middle class.
it affects everybody.
But I don't know lang, maybe, is it possible, kayo, you guys, what do you think? Is it possible that it will not be in our favor in the middle class, pero it's in the favor of those who are in the majority?
Libre nga kayo dun sa Skyway, mag-Skyway na lang kayo.
Potentially, kung efficient yung yung additional bus routes sa busway. But, it remains to be seen, I think.
Yung
Yeah.
Skyway
And
exempted
MRT.
yan, di ba? Yung Skyway exempted dyan sa...
Ililibre sa Skyway, kaya mag-Skyway na lang
Pero
kayo.
hindi yung buo, ano lang yun?
Yung EDSA stretch lang EDSA stretch lang.
Ano yung it's a
Pwede
stretch ng
yung
Skyway?
Skyway doon. Ang bayad kayo.
EDSA stretch lang.
Ano yung it's a stretch ng
Ano
Skyway?
ba naman
Hindi ko
yung
alam yun.
300 pesos? Oh?
Pero dyan mo makikita kung yung mga road network natin, gastos ng gobyerno, wala ka dyan tol, you don't need to rely on the private sector.
Yeah.
Hindi ka magbabayad ng 500 two ways every day para lang makapunta sa trabaho, makapunta sa school, makauwi. Yan ang problema kasi dahil yung kung saan napupunta yung pondo natin, you have to give it to the private sector. Siyempre yung private sector mangungulekta ng ton.
Kung meron sanang TF, pwede sana yan, no?
How can you be talking about TF when you're talking about chopper in the same breath, Ronald?
Ano TF?
It doesn't, may disconnect.
Ano yung TF?
Yung talent fee daw niya, wala din.
Kung may TF, ano ba naman yung
Kahit TF, isipin mo, Ronald, kung middle class ka, you have to pay about 500.
500.
Point to point, ha? 200,
500.
almost 300 one way.
Oo.
300, kaya mo ba yun? In a 5-day work week, magkano na yun?
Oh.
And then,
Sobrang
and the other thing that worries me about this is, of course, pagdating ng rainy season, it's gonna be even more
Yeah.
nightmarish. Right? Kasi
Kaya
sabi
nga.
nila, work will be simultaneous, as in several contractors will work at different ends of the EDSA daw, of the EDSA rehab. Pero, as we all know, pagdating ng ulan,
Na-imagine ko na si Ronald papasok sa Storycon naka-Harley, leather jacket. Tapos yung yung may collapsible na nabubunging na kulay pink, ano ba yan? Yung nilalagay sa mga scooter na gano'n.
Ito pa dagdag. Galit na galit yung motorista doon sa nagka-traffic sa EDSA tapos nahuli pa sa NCAP.
Oo, yun na nga, sabay-sabay pa siya, NCAP.
Titingnan natin ang impact nito sa
Oo.
sa mood ng tao. Sa mood ng tao dahil napakaraming gumagamit ng EDSA.
Puro kay Nega.
Ang problema sa inyo, puro kayo
Ano yung,
nega.
sige,
Nega. Lahat na lang nega.
ano yung,
Look up
Na. Ayun naman, sabi nga ng MMDA, tingnan muna natin kung ano mangyari. Tingnan daw implementation. They're going to be fair daw. Tingnan natin.
But I do remember, ang una nag-introduce sa atin si Oscar Orbos, no? Nung panahon ni Cory. Nag-add even siya for a few days. Tama ba, Ami?
Yeah.
Di ba? That was Oka, remember?
Matagal na yun.
Oo.
Sandaling lang
panahon
ginawa
ni
yun.
Cory, ES siya nun eh.
Testing lang yun.
Oo.
Testing lang.
Wala pa yata isang linggo yun.
But they had to pull it out. They had to pull back kasi
Very, very quick.
ang lakas ng
Yeah.
lakas ng feedback.
Pushback.
That was in the 1990s.
Wala pang busway yan. Wala pa yung ganyan ka-extensive na light railways. Nung panahon na yon.
well, now,
Mag-MRT na kayo. Ayaw nyo mag-MRT eh.
Bago ako makarating ng hindi ko kailangan MRT dito eh. Bago ako makarating dyan, kailangan ko ng 3 tricycle, 2 jeep, 1 bus. Bago ako makarating sa MRT.
okay, you are watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please.
Drive session.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
We've got developing news in the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao.
And I'm Regina Lay. Still with us, Ami Pamintun of the Philippine Star and Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. Live from...
El Nido.
Hindi sinasabi.
In
Palawan?
El Nido.
Palawan.
That's El Nido.
Yeah.
Okay, we have breaking news.
Pulse Asia.
Latest Pulse Asia survey. Si President Bongbong Marcos is sitting at 32% trust ratings versus Vice President Sara Duterte is at 50%. And for some reason, sinama nila this time around si former President Rodrigo Duterte who has 63% trust ratings. Yun pa lang yung nakukuha nating data. Our team is still breaking it down, but yun nga, 32% for BBM. VP Sara has 50%. Former President Duterte has 63% trust ratings. What can we say
Meron
about
pa
that?
ditong isa, Pulse Asia. Most Pinoys daw disagree with the arrest of Rodrigo Duterte.
Ay, ito
Pulse Asia rin.
same survey to, Ami. Ito yung May 6 to May 9 ginawa.
Ito yung mga latest natin. Meron pang isang Pulse Asia, nagkaroon daw ng shift in voter preference just days before the elections. Pulse Asia din. Ang tanong lang ngayon, kung gaano kataas pa yung trust rating ng pollsters mismo, no? After what happened to the election. Siya ang isang tanong ngayon. Siguro, ewan ko kung ma-assess na. Sino mag-a-assess ngayon yan? Di ba?
Tito Ronald, what do you think of the numbers?
Yan ang tanungan ngayon.
Ay, kumpara natin doon sa previous one. Ang alam ko kasi mas mababa yung approval rating ni BBM before this survey. Diba, nag-25% siya. Saan? No? Paano ang layo Sa Okta, 60% siya.
Yes.
Pulse to SWS, 25%. Previous yung previous. I remember right.
But
ngayon,
we're not talking about
tumaas siya
net, no? We're not talking about net trust ratings, We're talking about gross.
Yung actual.
Yes. So ngayon, medyo tumaas siya ng konti. Si Sara, medyo bumaba ng konti. Then 50 plus si Sara, alam ko previous survey, no? Kaya dapat mahalaga maikumpara din natin.
Actually, to be fair, you have to look at the previous ones para makita mo yung trend. Are the numbers going up or going down? Kasi by themselves, the numbers
Don't mean
only tell
anything.
half the story.
Pero ang bago rito, si Duterte sinama.
Oh, that was not there before.
Before hindi siya kasama
So,
Although yung numbers ni Duterte until he stepped down, talagang mataas siya Yung
50 plus
approval
yan
rating niya talagang mataas
59 yata siya before.
Yeah, ang taas-taas talaga niya.
So hindi masyadong malaki yung, hindi dramatic yung pagbabago.
Yes.
Pero even before the arrest.
But is it also fair to include somebody who's not an incumbent in the trust ratings?
Yes.
Kasi if you're not an incumbent, you're not accountable to anybody. And you're also not performing.
Medyo weird nga yun. Medyo weird na kasama si Tigo.
So I'm just wondering about that lang. Is it apples and oranges or apples and apples?
Parang...
Mayor na siya ngayon.
Parang ang hirap ikumpara nung trust rating ni Manny Mugato kay Ed Lingao. Parang ganun
No.
Apples, oranges.
Ano tayo napunta doon?
apples, oranges pala kayo? Well,
Apples and bananas kami.
Well, speaking of him being an incumbent, may news din around that. Si DILG is now
Surprisingly,
going
Remulla.
to ask, si DILG
ICC.
Sec John Vic Remulla is going to ask the International Criminal Court or ICC to allow President Duterte, former President Duterte, to take his oath as mayor.
With a consul.
Medyo
Yes.
nakakagulat yun. I don't think many people saw it coming. Certainly none of the analysts that we spoke to. Anong masabi mo doon, Ronald?
Well, baka in response din yan dito sa mga surveys na parang binabawasan nila yung narrative na siya ay biktima. Parang pinapalabas nila na the government is willing to bend backwards, no? Para kay Mayor Duterte. So pwedeng bahagi yan ng narrative. Parang nung interview ni PBBM Ketonying, di ba meron siyang mga statements about reconciliation. Whether that is serious or not is another thing. Pero pwedeng bahagi yan ng messaging, ng narrative, ng public messaging. Pwede.
Saka pwede rin di ba? They need clarity on the status of Duterte as mayor. Kasi kung incapacitated ka, if you cannot carry out your duties, kailangan mag-take over yung vice mayor
Yes.
Di ba?
Halimbawa,
Kailangan linawin yan. Kailangan niyang linawin ng gobyerno, ano bang status nito?
Tama.
Can he take his out? Pati COMELEC has to find out kasi kailangan malaman sino magpapatakbo ng Davao
Halimbawa, kung hindi
I think they
pumayag ng
really need to
ICC,
clarify.
halimbawa, kung hindi pumayag ng ICC, then that settles it. Diba?
Yeah.
Pumayag sila. Then most probably, magte-take over na yung vice mayor.
Yes. Kailangan linawin kasi hindi pwede magkaroon ng vacuum doon sa Kahit sabihin mong anak yon, kailangan may official designation kasi may mga official action yun Yung signature nila, paano yun? Kailangan may legal status yung pumipirma doon Kung mayor ka.
Actually,
or OIC or whatever.
For all you know, baka mamaya parang pro forma lang to just to put it out there that we're willing to, but in effect, they really are not expecting much in terms of a possibility of approval.
Possibly.
Parang
But they have to go through the procedure.
Yeah, I know.
They have to go through the
but it's also a
motions,
good
di
way
ba?
to- It's a good way
Parang
to show.
exhausting all remedies.
Yeah, even if they don't expect it to happen, kasi nga, if you go by, di ba, Tony
Yeah.
Lavinia was saying na it has to be done on Philippine soil, so
Correct.
you can't just send
So,
the consul to ICC.
Not just
to
administered by
experiment
a Philippine official, but also on Philippine soil.
So you have to
kailangan
bring him
ilabas
out.
ng detention center to the Philippine embassy.
That complicates everything.
Which Tony Lavinia said is not
Not
Pero baka,
likely.
baka nga pagbigyan ng ICC.
not only unlikely pero hindi advisable.
Kasi it sets a precedent.
Kasi it sets a precedent for future cases na okay, pwede pala kahit kung may kaso ka pero nanalo
Manalo
ka pa
ka.
rin, pwedeng ilabas para lang
Saka sa
mag-oath
ICC,
taking.
Reg, it may set a precedent.
Yun nga. Yun din
Kaya
sabi
pag
ni
dalawang
Inulit
isip
lang
ang
yun,
ICC
Torres,
na gawin yan. Kung hindi nila ginagawa in the past, baka hindi nila gawin ngayon.
Yes.
Yeah. So yun nga, it
Kaya
might
nga.
just be
Pero
pro forma.
kailangan we have to go through the motions.
Yeah.
Okay?
Di ba?
Yeah,
We have to go through the motions para
to
sabihin,
assuage all the
bakit
feelings.
hindi nyo ginawa yan?
Kung magdala ng lupa ron, tapos tumuntong doon.
Ilagay sa paso, ganun.
Ano malay mo kung saan galing yung lupa?
It doesn't count.
Kailangan certified Philippine soil yun,
Babas-basa ni Apollo Kibuloy. Anyway.
Hindi, kaya kailangan tanungin mo ICC, can we take him to the embassy, which is officially Philippine soil? Kailangan tingnan natin kung papayagan yun ng ICC.
Naalala mo yung
So,
legend
kailangan subukan natin. Kailangan subukan ng gobyerno, di ba? Kasi baka sabihin ng kabilang kampo, bakit hindi nyo sinubukan?
Napanood mo ba yung Bram Stoker's Dracula? Kailangan
Dracula,
Dracula yung kanyang lupa Diba? Dating dala ni Dracula yung lupa niya, diba?
Sunta na tayo kay Dracula.
Naalala ko lang.
Oo. Speaking of DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla, so we were trying to get him para mabigyan linaw itong issue na to and to find out exactly how far they're willing to go. Pero what do you think, Ronald? So far, hindi pa sila, I guess, safe from the cabinet overhaul.
Nagsubmit ba si John Vic ng courtesy resignation?
Nag-submit siya.
Yeah, I think he did.
Lahat, yes. Yes.
So bukas malalaman natin.
Baka Wednesday pa eh.
Anong
Ano araw
meron?
ngayon? Ba Tuesday ngayon?
Monday ngayon,
Monday.
hello.
Sorry. Akala ko Tuesday. Wednesday. Malalaman natin.
Iba time zone ni Ronald eh.
Anong
Dahil
meron?
marami kasing mga cabinet secretary ngayon parang alangan Diba? Parang hindi malinaw yung kanilang future. Diba? Marami alangan Pero
Kailangan intayin natin umuwi muna si Bongbong from President Marcos from ASEAN. Palagay ko
May mga-
walang sasabihin hanggat nandun siya.
may 5-6 na nanganganib sa Wednesday.
Ayan pinaka-latest kay Ronald.
Teka,
5 o 6.
iba pa yan dun sa last week May
Hindi,
5 ka
iba
pa
yun.
nakikita.
Iba yun, iba.
Nakaraan. Ngayon may nanganganib. Yan yung second batch. Parang
phase two.
Ronald,
Parang revamp by increments. Diba yung Parang may hulugan eh.
Oo.
Dapat kasi ang revamp, isahan na lang eh.
Oo.
Diba? Isahan na lang
Kasi
eh.
sinabi naman ni di ba? Sinabi ni Persamin, more heads to roll.
Oh, pero hindi dapat ganyan ang revamp. Dapat isahan na lang. Paano kung by increments, binubuksan mo yung process sa mga pressures eh. Paano may mga principal yung mga cabinet secretary na yan. So maglalabi sila, wag naman tanggalin. Ipalit mo ito. Kung
Meron na nga eh.
kung isang bagsak lang at malinaw kung sino ipapalit, wala nang lobbying. Wala nang lobbying ng vested interest.
What do we,
Tapos maganda yung mensahe mo.
what do we know about the team that's doing the performance review, Ronald? Kasi medyo, it's very secretive, no? Sino yung nagre-review ng mga tao?
Si ganito, tapos si ganito. Tapos si ganito. At si ganito.
Ayaw talaga. Initials na lang, initials. Sige na.
Ilang syllables? Ilang syllables?
Hindi sasabihin niya kasi they will be open to pressure.
Ilang tao? Ilang tao?
5 yata.
5 sa panel. Panel to. High caliber daw eh. That's all we know. High caliber professionals daw sila. That's all.
Anong caliber yan? 45? 30 caliber? 50 caliber?
Caliber yan. Sniper.
Duda ako pag sinasabi mga high caliber.
Yun lang yung nakuha namin eh. From the press con.
Pag revamp talaga, isang sabog yan eh.
Yeah.
Kung hindi mo papasabugin, magmumukhang quitis. Magmumukhang quitis eh. Dapat isang sabog na lang, di ba?
Quitis na unti-unting naubos na unti-unti.
Oo. Dapat isang sabog
baka they
para
just-
yung objective mo, nagawa mo.
Oo,
Yung objective mo na restart, nagawa mo. Kesa yung by increments,
Baka naman they just need time to review.
Parang
Everybody.
pag lobat yung kotse mo, tinutulak mo, kailangan isang bugso na gano'n. Hindi pwedeng unti-unti dahan-dahan eh.
Alam
Isang
na
mabilis sa
yung
kadyo.
pagtulak ng kotse.
Sanay ko doon.
Reg, pag kailangan ka ng revamp, dapat kompleto na yung gusto mong gawin.
Okay.
Magkocall ka ng revamp tapos hindi mo alam ang ito pwede, ito hindi. Sabi nga ni Bersamin, ano sabi ni Bersamin? Matatanggal sila dahil sa inefficiency,
Underperformance.
possibly corruption. Pero pwede silang malipat sa ibang posisyon. Bakit mo ba sinabi yung possibility na matatanggal sila because of inefficiency and corruption? Tapos pwede pala silang mailipat. Parang si Popo Lutila, natanggal sa energy, tapos napunta sa environment. Traditionally, magkaiba yung energy sa environment.
Yeah, kaya nga.
Nagka-clash yun.
Oo.
Gumagamit ka ng fossil fuel, nakalaban ng environment.
Nagka-clash yun.
Correct.
Diba? So, what was that about? Diba? Yung ganun pa?
Hindi. Okay, we'll continue talking about it tomorrow kasi pinaparap na ako. Thank you so much for joining Storycon today. Ami Pamituan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. Ronald, dial in ka ulit bukas kasi we have part 2 of this. Join us again tomorrow for 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. We are one news na nahulog. We're one news all sides all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.